Walk a mile in their shoes is a familiar saying urging us to be very careful before we criticize others. It's far too easy and common for us to look at others and judge them harshly, without a thought to their situation and circumstances. When we see someone doing something that doesn't make sense to us or is actually sinful, we should step back and consider what happened to lead them there. We may need to help or even correct them, but need to do so with compassion and understanding. Even when the correction has to be severe, it still needs to arise from compassion and understanding. That's why it's a good life principle. More importantly, it's a fundamental biblical principle. At Mount Sinai, one of the basic laws was not to mistreat or oppress strangers because Israel had walked more than a mile in those shoes. You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Exodus 22, verse 21. However, as usual, God had more to say on the subject as he approached it from the positive side. Beyond understanding others before criticizing them, we should walk the extra mile and love the stranger. Deuteronomy 10, verse 19, which is a variation of what Jesus called the second greatest commandment in Mark 12, verse 31. This is a very important Old Testament theme that is frequently repeated. Do not oppress a stranger, Exodus 23, verse 9. Do not defraud or rob your neighbor, Leviticus 19, verse 13. Love them, that is, the stranger, as yourself, Leviticus 19, verse 34, just to name a few. In the many passages about properly treating others, God gave several reasons, but they all tie back to God's own nature. In one passage warning against oppressing the stranger, God included a ban on oppressing orphans and widows because he's their champion, Exodus 22, verses 22 through 24. In Leviticus 19, verse 34, he simply stated, I am the Lord your God, as sufficient reason for them to love the stranger. We should recognize the principle having seen it powerfully demonstrated in the life of Jesus. The Son of God came to earth and was made a little lower than the angels to call us his brethren and be made perfect through suffering so he could deliver us from the bondage of sin. Hebrews 2, verses 9 through 18. So when God tells us to love our neighbor, including the stranger, he knows it can be done because he has walked more than a mile in our shoes. Well, be sure to walk to your computer tomorrow for another Morning Minutes in the Bible. Until then, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.